What does it mean when the liver is overloaded or a fatty liver? In modern day American society, we are under constant stress of toxins that we have no idea exist. From the can of tuna containing mercury in the meat to the toxicity of the tuna itself, from the cement factory on the outside of town that blows chemicals across the city, to the lipstick that we put on and the eye makeup and the deodorants and the perfumes, and not to mention all the food additives and artificial sweeteners and antibiotics and all that stuff that's in our meats, as well as hundreds of other toxic sources. Toxicity is everywhere. And it's the liver. The liver is second only to the brain in its magnificence. While the liver has literally hundreds of functions, possibly its most important function is the secretion of bile. Bile is necessary for the digestion of fats and the digestion of fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, K, and calcium. The liver stores a lot of the things that we don't realize. And one of its major contributors to our health is its ability to detoxify our bodies. All of the toxins that exist in our lives, such as insecticides, drugs, alcohol, metabolic waste products, and other harmful chemicals, are taken out of our bodies and detoxified through the proper use of nutrition that help convert them to less toxic substances. However, between phase 1 detoxification and phase 2 detoxification, that pathway, there are some substances that are severely toxic. When we have these things like illness, pain, stress, fatigue in our lives, our nutrients become deficient, which creates severe stress on the liver. Most people don't realize that the liver is responsible for regulating the thyroid function, one of the things we just don't get. Therefore, liver stress can cause possible hypothyroid conditions. Liver also breaks down hormones like adrenaline and estrogen and insulin after they've done what they need to do in the body for us. Here's the problem, and listen closely. The sedentary lifestyle that we have created, it creates a physical lack of movement that is leading to low oxygenation and lack of deep breathing. It basically causes the liver to create what we call liver stones. This primarily comes from stasis or lack of movement, and the liver begins to become overloaded, not functioning at a healthy level, and that's fatty liver disease. Eventually, bile is secreted in a thicker form and then begins to slow and create gallbladder issues. That thickened bile can contribute to those stones that are created as the body becomes less and less healthy. Without proper diet and nutrition and exercise and breathing, the liver-gallbladder complex thickens and fails to promote good fluidity and viscosity. And when that happens, we begin to have a series of symptoms such as increased inflammation, pain underneath your right rib cage, stools that are lighter colored since they're not breaking down your fat, exhaustion, decreased immune function, increased hormonal imbalance, and eventually loss of skin color, like the whites of the eyes. They become yellow, and so does your skin. If you're a person who, like many of us, is reading this thinking, yeah, that's me. What do I do about my liver? Know that it's okay. There's a lot of cool things that we can do to help you detoxify and heal that overloaded liver. First, contact your doctor and get a natural gallbladder cleanse. This doesn't need to translate into this huge medication that you're going to be on for a lifetime, but it can be done quickly and painlessly. And then go ahead and get on a liver detoxification program. And that's not hard either. You can go to Sprouts or any health food store and get something that's really good for you. Just ask there. But once you're through the detoxification process, you need to begin adding things like omega-3, 6, 9, those types of fatty acids while doing high-intensity interval training, in my opinion, or deep breathing exercises such as yoga, those types of things. And what happens is you will begin to compress your organs with all this deep breathing. And when you have compression happening, you're actually squeezing onto the internal organs, and that promotes peristalsis. That promotes a use of the inside of the body that we don't realize the necessity of exercise for. So when we were talking about bile earlier, people don't realize that bile is a product of the liver that goes down through the bile duct into the gallbladder, and from the gallbladder goes down through a tube that basically drops in on the small intestine where the fat is coming through. See, when we eat something that has a certain amount of fat in it, our brain is actually able to walk in there and scan what's just been put in the mouth. And kind of like at the grocery store, boop, 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 and we know exactly what's coming into the system. The mouth does that. The enzymes begin to break down things that it knows it has to break down. But the cool thing is that as we begin to have fat that's been ingested, it goes into the stomach and then into the intestines, the brain is also releasing bile from the gallbladder. That emulsifies fat, that breaks down fat. And like I said earlier, sometimes the bile thickens, and it thickens to such a point that it won't flow. And when it doesn't flow, it actually begins to pile up and become stones in the gallbladder. You've heard of gallstones, surely. That can back up and cause liver stones as well. Bile needs to have the ability to be broken down by good food. So I'm encouraging you today to make sure that you are truly eating things like green vegetables or anything that's red, orange, yellow. Also, fruit. And I want you to consider eating the fruit with the skins on it. I want you to consider having the bananas actually turn just the first sign of brown dots. I want you to cut the banana like this, and I want you to eat the thing with the skin on and see what that does for you. If you can tolerate that and not spit it out, the bioflavonoids in the skins of the banana, skins of the cutie, skins of anything help create the proper acidity or alkalinity in the body. So back to the bile, that's most important. That's what we're talking about, really relieving the stress on the liver. Those things, when you eat enough of them, create this detergent type of atmosphere on the fat as it goes through. And it breaks down the bile. It breaks down the surface tension that's on bile. And if that'll break down properly and not be too thick as it drops in on the fat, it begins to make the whole system work better. Okay? It begins to allow you to not have such improper bowel habits. It eases the stress on everything. And like today, we're talking about fatty liver. When our livers get out of hand with the overuse of carbohydrate, with the overuse of fake sweeteners, with the overuse of eating the wrong things for a long, long time, now we have fatty liver. Now it used to be it was just basically alcoholics that had cirrhosis of the liver because they abused themselves so much and the liver couldn't break it down anymore, and finally the liver begins to harden, and very little blood can perfuse through that organ. And like I said to begin with, the liver is second only to the brain in its magnificence. When we begin to eat so much carbohydrate, which only in the last really 30 years, 20 to 30 years, has that even been a problem. The body is starting to act the same way as if you were a severe alcoholic. And the livers nowadays are becoming hard, becoming cystic, becoming scarred through the body of the liver. Very little blood can flow through there. Very little detoxification can now happen. And the body begins to slowly deteriorate. And when that happens, there's one thing that you'll start to notice right away, and it's happening more and more. Doctors are telling patients more and more across this country that fatty liver is the coming plague. And the bottom line is here's one thing I want you to look out for. When you eat, you will begin to feel like your legs are wobbly when you stand up from eating, like you have an inner ear infection, or maybe you've had a few too many drinks to drink. The problem is the liver is beginning to make alcohol out of what you ate. And that's when you know we have to do something, and we have to do something right now. So, I think that's enough about fatty liver for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Dr. Kennedy Venekamp here at the Skinny Up Labs here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I hope you make it a great day. Thank you.